I have a surprise for you guys. I'm gay. Woo! Agreeing to disagree is not enough. It just keeps us where we are. I love you even if you're gay. I love you even though you're married to a white, black, Asian person. I love you even though you converted to Catholicism, Judaism, Buddhism, Southern Baptist. I love you even though you lived on the wrong side of the tracks. I love you even though you got pregnant before you got married. The list can go on and on and on and on. Agreeing to disagree is not enough. It sends a message that one is better than the other. Or at least that's how I feel when I hear it. I believe we have to do better for our fellow people than agree to disagree by encouraging them to be who they are, to be who they want to be, and to be who they feel called to be, and to follow their heart on their journey. If we do that, then equality will happen naturally. When I think of courage, I think of many greats before us. I think probably the same people you think of, like Gandhi and Jesus and MLK and Mother Teresa and you name it. The list can go on and on of the people who have come before us who have taken love to a level that we may not be able to comprehend through their actions, through what they've been through, whatever it may be. So when I think of courage, I think of those people. And those are the kind of people I've always truly admired and have always tried to live up to. I truly believe that the love that Jesus was able to convey, the love that Gandhi and Mandela or whoever were able to convey, I believe that we are all capable of that. And I believe it takes a tremendous amount of courage to be able to do that, and a willingness to look at yourself. This is not a political statement for me. This isn't about gay marriage. If you agree or disagree, this isn't about if you agree or disagree with being gay. This isn't about if you agree or disagree with being Baptist. It has nothing to do with any of those things. It's about figuring out who you are on your journey and living it, and allowing others to do the same. The majority of the discrimination that I experienced when I came out of the closet were from people who were just happened to be Baptist. So my association with discrimination is around that context. So whether it doesn't matter, minister or congregant, those are my hardest ones. Okay? So that's why my fear was so real, because that's where I experienced the most rejection. This is a complete full circle moment for me. I came out of the closet about 10 years ago. My parents are here in the front row, so is my partner, Claire. And one story in particular, I remember standing outside of Allen Hall, my phone ringing. This is just when everyone's starting to learn that I've come out of the closet. I pick up the phone. It's the leader of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and he is basically yelling at me and telling me that I've done a horrible thing. I can't believe you. Just being extremely, abusive, I think. And in that moment, I remember feeling lower than low. So tonight is a chance for me to close that circle. It's a chance for me to let that go and to move on. So I want to thank you all for being here. This is a really important moment. It's hard for me to sit here and pinpoint certain parts of my coming out story to tell each of you, because I don't want to dwell on it. I want you to know that it was tough. I want you to know that It was probably typical for any person who's ever been raised in Mississippi. Rejected, hurt, not spoken to anymore. People just stopped talking to you out of the blue. I had hate voicemails, phone calls. There was one instance where I met a couple from the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in the Chapel of Memories, and they sat me down and they took out their Bible and they told me all of the reasons why I was going to hell, which I didn't believe in hell at the time, and I still don't. But they were coming down on me. So I think all of those stories, I could sit here all night long and tell you a list of those stories and how it made me feel. But I want to share with you the messages I told myself when bad things started happening after I came out of the closet, and things that I have worked through over the last 10 years. I am wrong for being who I am. I am not worthy. I don't deserve to be happy. I am less than. I am a victim to life, and life is against me. Now I'm sure no matter what your story is or where you come from, you've told yourself those same things. If you're gay or not gay, we've all been discriminated against in some form or fashion, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. We've had someone look down on us, and our tendency is to want to just fight back, and I totally get that. I totally understand wanting to put your fist up and protect yourself, because that's what I did for a long time. But I knew it's not who I really was. Telling the group about my experience of coming out and how hard it was, and I was crying and I was just really struggling. If there was hopeless, that was hopeless. And she looked at me straight in the eye in a moment of complete silence. And my heart was wide open because it was broken open. And she said, "Megan, I see the divine in you." And I knew she was right. No one had ever told me that before. And it wasn't that I was special or different than anybody else. It was just that I didn't know that. And I know that's true for everyone. The divine is in all of us. And I knew she was right. So sometimes courage is just having the willingness to let love in. It's hard to let love in. When we don't allow ourselves to let love in, we can never know love. At that point, I realized I wasn't a victim, and I was going to have to figure out how to live this life as a gay woman and be happy. So the first thing I did was I left Mississippi. I went to Florida. I was there for 3 years. Went off to Colorado, was there for 3 years. I was really just trying to figure out who I was without feeling the pressure of society here. So I had to leave. And 3 years ago, I was in Colorado, had met Claire. We'd been together a couple years, and I knew I was being called to come back. I didn't know why. I didn't want to. I cried tears and tears and buckets of tears. My parents know I never wanted to come back to Mississippi. I came kicking and screaming. But what I figured out after the first year was that I came here to heal. And I knew that. But I knew that it wasn't going to be easy. And it hasn't been easy by any means. I realized that I was still stuck on my coming out day. I was still stuck on remembering it as a bad experience. And I wanted to find a way to love the experience. And when I asked God for an answer to help me find a way to get through that and to see it as a positive experience. What popped in my mind was I needed to have a conversation with my mom about what she remembered that day and what I remembered that day. And when I called her up, I said, "Mom, can you write a letter to me about what you remember on that day?" And I said, "I'll write a letter to you about what I remember on that day, and then we can exchange and then we can talk about it." It was an easier way for me to be able to say whatever needed to be said and a way for her to say what she needed to say. And so she did it without questions asked. "No problem, I'll do it. You got it. Whatever you need." And so we did it. And I'm not going to read the letters because we'll be here all night. But after we read the letters, we realized several different things. One was, in her reaction to me on the day that I came out, she was very upset and she was crying a lot. What I didn't know, and what her letter taught me, was that she was in absolute, complete fear. So afraid for me about what was going to happen. I didn't know that. What I figured out was that I took her fear and I realized I had placed it on me as rejection. I thought because of her fear she was rejecting me. And how many times in our lives do we do that? Because we don't talk about it. It was a simple resolution. I could have spent my entire life thinking she had rejected me that day, and she hadn't. She was just scared. So we resolved that. It was very healing for me. I know it was for us. Our relationship since then has just taken off. It has been amazing. It really has. So the lesson I learned from that is I have to be willing to have tough conversations. The same man who called me outside of Allen Hall and met with me at the chapel, I actually ran into him again about a month ago. And I was always really nervous about running into him again. It had been 10 years. The thought of running into him scared me. But I had been working on myself so much and trying to get to a place of knowing that I'm okay. I'm okay as I am. I was worried about seeing him and feeling like I wasn't there yet. And so he walked through my business doors one day because he had heard we were opening a holistic center, which is true. And his office happened to be right around the corner. Go figure. Full circle. He walked in and I felt amazing. I gave him a hug. I could tell he was nervous, but there wasn't a bone in my body that was nervous. Not a bone. So I knew I had come a long way. And I think that's what we all strive to be. I think we all want to get to a place in our lives where no one scares us, that we're not afraid of being rejected, that we're confident in who we are, and that we deserve to live a happy and fulfilling life. And in that moment, I think the lesson for me was it's up to me to transform my own pain into love. And I think if we're ever going to get to a place as a society or as an individual where we're not feeling like we need to disagree with anyone or anything like that, I think you have to look at yourself first. And you have to be willing to do the work. I've been getting a lot of clients who are Baptist. I mean, like an influx of clients. And it's been really special for me because I can see their hearts now. And I know they see mine. And they have put their trust in me, a gay woman from Mississippi who they know I am very out and very open. They are spilling their guts to me, and they're allowing me to help them. That to me is truly amazing and has given me confidence in myself. It's shown me that I've come a very long way from where I began. And it really has shown me that I'm not a failure. And that has been the one resounding voice I've heard in my head for the last 10 years. I do not believe in agreeing to disagree. I believe in moving past that. Past right and wrong to the place beyond opinions. I believe in conversations that lead to understanding and acceptance. I believe that every person should feel like a rock star because of who they are, inside and out. So much so that vulnerability doesn't have to be such a courageous act for so many. Rising above right and wrong happens when you love who you are, when you act in alignment with who you are, and know that your way is not necessarily the best way for everyone. We all have a place inside ourselves that whispers truth to us. That whisper of truth is what is right, and it whispers differently in each person's heart. When we live from our heart, right and wrong are completely irrelevant. All that matters then is that we follow our own truth and honor the right of others to do or not to do the same.